Here one, Skyler the Scottman. We're here to do a drive video today. We're heading west on Highway 2. We're here in St. Ignace, Michigan. It's a beautiful morning out today, and I just crossed over the Mackinac Bridge minutes ago. I remember quite a while ago where I filmed a video going over the bridge. So anyway, we're going to be doing this drive in the Upper Peninsula today. We'll be heading west on Highway 2 from where it begins at I-75. We'll head all the way to M-117 near Engadine, Michigan. So yep, correct. I'm on my way over to northeast Wisconsin. And so I'm going up this way today. But I'll be making a pit stop over in Escanaba first. Because I've been to Escanaba once, but I didn't really get to see much of the city, so I figured I might as well check it out since it's on my way to the Green Bay area. Yeah, when it comes to driving videos, I've not really filmed much of anything in the Upper Peninsula. I think the only exception was probably I-75 in the just the eastern part of the Upper Peninsula. Although I think I did do a driving video in the Marquette area one time, but that was like a long time ago. But yeah, it is great to be back up in the Upper Peninsula. And we got quite a bit of a ways to go in this video because the distance, or at least the amount of time it's going to take to get to M-117 is around 45 minutes. So this will be a little bit of a longer driving video, but shouldn't be anything too crazy. But the first few miles or so along Highway 2, like they got different scenic turnouts on the left side of the road where you can see Lake Michigan, but also the Mackinac Bridge. Although it's kind of difficult to see it this morning because there's a lot of fog over Lake Michigan today, or at least this morning. Probably will clear out as the day progresses. So on a clear day, you could even see the tip of the Lower Peninsula from here, but not with the fog today. So back where we started the video, that's a very popular fill-up spot for getting gas. There's also different fast food places there too. Because we're not going to really see a whole lot of anything between here and the Manistique area, which is like a little over 80 miles from here. But on this stretch of Highway 2, we can get some nice scenic landscapes in here because it's the shoreline of Lake Michigan in areas can be a little rugged. But there will be areas, as we'll see in a little while, where we will be going right along Lake Michigan, but a little close to lake level. So yeah, I started my adventure yesterday evening because I had to work yesterday. And I didn't want to take any time off from work on the Friday before the 4th of July holiday weekend. And yeah, to the right, that's where the famous Mystery Spot is, which I've never been to Mystery Spot before. It's supposed to be a pretty interesting attraction where it's like they got a building or buildings where it's like from what I was seeing online, it's like to where it makes you feel like that everything's either slanted or different things like that. One of these days, I almost should check it out. I'm not sure if they would allow me to film anything, just because it's a mystery spot. But I don't know. Anyway, so as I was saying, I started yesterday evening. I only got as far north as Gaylord, Michigan. So that I could just spend the night there and then get going in the morning. pretty early. But yeah, with the weather forecast, like, I don't know what it was with me lately with planning these holiday weekend adventures, but like the weather's been working out very well lately. Because I had like perfect weather for Memorial Day weekend, and I should have the same for the 4th of July weekend. Funny enough, if I would have stayed at home, there was going to be a lot of chances of rain, but it's like once you get up to northern Michigan and Wisconsin, a lot nicer weather. And then yeah, over here we got a really nice scenic overlook. So I remember going over there. Yeah, it was 4 years. Yeah, 4 years ago when I stayed up in St. Ignace for a weekend, I went to Mackinac Island. I got to watch a beautiful sunset over there. But yeah, it seems like I've only been coming up to the, well, I take that back. I was gonna say it feels like I've always come up here every odd year, but I keep forgetting I did come up to the Upper Peninsula in 2020 when I was driving over to Duluth, Minnesota. So I came up through the Upper Peninsula instead of going through Chicago. Yeah, one nice thing about the Upper Peninsula is that, yeah, it's like got a lot of natural landscape here, like lots of trees, like trees are everywhere, which is really great to see. Yeah, I can't believe it's July already, and yeah, for this holiday weekend, it's like the 4th of July, which is our Independence Day here in the United States, it's on a Tuesday this year. So yeah, so I had to take off Monday from work in order to even do this trip. Which that's something I don't really understand too well, is with Independence Day being on a Tuesday, like I don't know why people just can't give the day off on Monday to give people a 4-day weekend. It's like, I don't understand why they don't do that. Because I think a lot of people are going to be taking off Monday. Heck, my dad was given Monday off by his work, and I was not given the day off, so I ended up having to use a vacation day for that. So yeah, I don't get the logic behind that. Because yeah, it's like imagine, it's like, yeah, when the 4th of July falls on a Wednesday, because then it's like, yeah, then you have 2 days of work, then you have a day off, and then 2 more days of work. The good news, though, is that the 4th of July will not be falling on a Wednesday next year, because next year, 2024, is a leap year. So it'll go right to Thursday instead. And what's really cool, too, is that up in Canada, today is Canada Day. So even though this video will be going up late, so happy Canada Day to all my Canadian followers and friends. So it's pretty cool how this weekend right now is a holiday weekend in both the United States and Canada. United States for Independence Day and Canada for Canada Day. And I believe for Canada Day, they were likely given yesterday off because the holiday falls on a Saturday. So usually when that happens, they'll put it on the business day immediately before, immediately after it. So it'd basically be like a 3-day weekend for them, which is really nice. Not for us though, because it's like you just get the regular weekend, then you have to work, and then you get a day off, and then you're back to work the next day. So again, like as I was saying in my rant, it's like they should just observe the holiday not only on the Tuesday but also the Monday as well. It's like Americans are hard workers, so it's like you gotta reward people with holidays, you know. Oh yeah, this new pavement here is really nice. Yeah, I don't think I've been on this stretch of Highway 2 since 2020 because, yeah, when I last came up to the UP which was 2021, I did not go this way because I was going up to Sault Ste. Marie and Whitefish Point, Taquamanan Falls, so I would have stayed on I-75. And here's the part where I was talking about where we are going right by Lake Michigan. So we got some small sand dunes over here, and to the left, that is Lake Michigan. So Lake Michigan comes all the way up as far north as the Upper Peninsula. And this is a very popular spot, especially in the summertime, where you'll see a lot of cars parked along the side of the road to head over to the water, because you got some nice long beach over here. Yeah, the visibility is a lot better than it was over at the Mackinac Bridge, but then again, it could be clearing up as we speak. Yeah, it feels like I've been over to Lake Michigan quite a bit this year. Well, I'm saying that because I've done a lot of adventures over to Lake Michigan in the past couple months. Because I got to go to Lake Michigan when I went to Holland, when I went to there for the Tulip Time Festival, and then I also I stayed in Frankfort, Michigan for Memorial Day weekend, where I got to go to Traverse City and do a bunch of things in the Leelanau Peninsula. And then I did a little day trip just to Grand Rapids last weekend. And while I was out in the area, I filmed a driving video on M-45. So because I was that close, I was like, I'd drive over to Lake Michigan really quick. Went over the Brevard River. But that's the cool thing about Lake Michigan. It's like you got a lot of different sand dunes along in here. Although compared to Sleeping Bear Dunes, like this is mediocre, but it's pretty cool when it comes to the scenery. Interesting though how even though this is the start of the holiday weekend, I'm seeing a lot of vehicles hauling trailers going the opposite direction. So I'm wondering if there are people who decide to take this past week off and it's like, oh, it's the holiday weekend, that's when everybody else is coming up, so let's head back home and do what everybody else is not doing. Which, yeah, that's not a bad idea, especially if you took off this past week. Because let's just say, yeah, this past week, I'm sure that there would have been a lot of people camping and different things like that, but you'd be going against the crowd a little bit. One thing I will say though is, yeah, I-75, yeah, was really packed. Yeah, so even there is heavy traffic even as late as like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I believe, yeah, the 4th of July weekend's always like the busiest travel weekend of the year in Michigan. Yeah, we got somebody going quite slow right now in front of us. Hiawatha National Forest here. Huh, interesting. It's like that entrance was closed there. I don't know why that was closed off, unless they're doing like reconstruction or something like that. That could be a possibility. So yeah, technically, now we're officially entering the Hiawatha National Forest. And more views of Lake Michigan off to our left. So yeah, Michigan's Upper Peninsula, it touches 3 of the 5 Great Lakes. Because we have Lake Michigan over here, we have Lake Huron over like in St. Ignace, and over toward Drummond Island. Which of course St. Ignace is where you can take the ferry over to Mackinac Island, although you can do the same thing from Mackinac City at the tip of the northern, or the lower peninsula. And then also at the northern end you got Lake Superior. Sure how much more of Lake Michigan we'll see in this video. Because in a lot of areas we're going to be going a little bit more inland. Well, not by much, but enough to where there's going to be trees between the road and the lake. I am curious though, like what the lake temperatures are like right now. I know back around Memorial Day weekend, even down in Traverse City in that area, the water temperatures were really cold. Yeah, hopefully there's a passing lane soon, because I haven't seen one since the very beginning of the video. Okay, yeah. Oh, speaking of that, we got one coming up, so we can get around some of the slow pokes here who are going under the speed limit right now. What's nice about Highway 2 is that the speed limit is 65 miles per hour. Yeah, it's like it's a commonplace throughout the state of Michigan in rural areas, especially on the higher traveled highways. Like you got these different passing lanes where it's like, because they're mainly 2-lane highways, but they give you an opportunity where you can easily pass other vehicles, especially if they're going on the slower side. Got banners for fresh cherries and fresh strawberries. And we're entering the village of Brevard here. What is nice though is that every so often there are different fill-up spots. Although it looks like I saw the price for that gas station is a lot more expensive than it is down the lower peninsula, but it's probably because like there aren't that many gas stations that you go by in these more rural areas of the Upper Peninsula, so it's like they can have the prices be a little higher than normal because people will pay them. So yeah, that was the village of Brevard, and I think it's pronounced Brevard. And now we'll continue our way west. So what's really interesting about Highway 2 is that Highway 2, there are 2 parts to Highway 2. There's what I like to say is the main stretch of Highway 2, which begins over in St. Ignace, Michigan, and goes all the way west to the Pacific Northwest, and I think it goes all the way to the state of Washington. But But there is another stretch of Highway 2 that's in New England, because there's a stretch that goes into like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And I think I recall driving on that stretch of Highway 2 in like Vermont and New Hampshire when I did my road trip to New England. Not the most recent one when I went to Massachusetts, but the trip I did to Maine back in 2021. So it's like the state of New York and then Ontario and the Great Lakes divide Highway 2, and I don't think they'll ever connect the two parts of Highway 2. I don't think that'll ever happen. So yeah, but Highway 2 and then also M28 to the northern part of the Upper Peninsula, those are the two main east and west highways in the Upper Peninsula. And this is a nice way to get over to the northern Wisconsin, northern Minnesota, or even to the Dakotas without having to go through Chicago and going through like Illinois and southern Wisconsin. It's like you can definitely go that way, but this is a lot more scenic and usually a lot less traffic. So yeah, as I was saying at the earlier part, toward the beginning of the video, they got me making a pit stop in Escanaba for a few hours. I'm planning to film a video there. I was originally planning to film one several years ago when I did a road trip up in the Upper Peninsula, but I was running out of time in Escanaba, so I only got a little quick video in Ludington Park there. Yeah, more about that in a minute, but yeah, we're about to come over to a scenic overlook, which I almost need to check it out one of these days. I'm not gonna be able to today because I'm filming this drying video. But there's a roadside park over here to the right. And because yeah, over here, this is the Cut River. So this is the Cut River Bridge, and this bridge is up in elevation a little bit. Nothing crazy, but that roadside park back there, you can take a little quick trail down to the banks of the Cut River, and you can get a nice view of the Cut River Bridge. And from what I've seen online, it's supposed to be really, really nice. And if I recall, it was like a few years or so ago where they were doing repairs on the Cut River Bridge. And I remember there is a side road called the Cut River Road, where it goes around the bridge, and that was like a detour everybody had to take because the bridge was closed for a good period of time. But thankfully it's been long repaired, or since repaired, and we can easily drive on it again. Anyway, so I was talking about a couple minutes ago is that, yeah, Escanaba. So I didn't really get a chance to check it out a lot of time. Oh, town of Epufet, I think that's how you say it. Just a little small village. It's like it's like a motel and then a couple little, like a general store. So pretty cool. So but anyway, so I barely had time to check out Escanaba, so I only went to the park there. But today I'll be able to, of course, go to the park there, but I'll be able to check out the city itself, get some lunch while I'm there, so I'll be able to explore the city more properly and do a more proper video. So I remember that day I was driving because I was driving to Iron Mountain, city too. And then I know not far from there, it's like you got what's called a kitchen tippy kippy or however you say. I can't remember how you say that, but it's a really cool spring that's not far away, and you got crystal clear water there. It's like it's very blue. It's like it's really fascinating. And you got another nice scenic overlook to the left too, where you can see a little small inlet from Lake Michigan. Oh yeah, this is interesting. Yeah, this passing lane is nowhere near as long as that last one. It's like, yeah, my main purpose for this trip is to go to northeast Wisconsin, but it's like, yeah, I'm still filming a video in Michigan. Well, in addition to this driving video. When I was planning this trip, I was trying to think, because I'm going to be going back through Chicago when I'm heading back from Wisconsin. But when I was planning this trip, I was trying to think if I want to go this way or if I want to go the other way and then come back through the Upper Peninsula. But I think this is I'm making the right choice because let's just say, even though Tuesday's going to be the 4th of July, everybody's going to be coming back from up north on the 4th of July, so I'd be running into really intense traffic. So when I was playing this, it's like, yeah, it'd be best just to go back through Chicago. Although, of course, Monday is a working day for a lot of people, so Chicago's going to have some heavy traffic when I go through there, because I'll be making a pit stop in Northwest Indiana on my way back. Just get started with the drive the next morning, and then I can get back home by like lunchtime before everybody else does. And I should have some water, because I haven't had any yet in this video. That's better. It's like, yeah, my water bottle there's a lot of condensation on it right now. It's like, because it's a little muggy up here right now. But then again, it is the morning, so the humidity is always higher in the morning. But yeah, it's a mild morning, I'd say, because even up here, it's already 69 degrees Fahrenheit. If you convert that to Celsius, it's around 21 degrees. So, yeah, I don't think I really said where I was going in northeast Wisconsin. Well, I'm staying in Green Bay, but I'm going to be spending like a day and a half over in Door County, Wisconsin, which, for what I was reading online, is considered to be the Cape Cod of the Midwest, which is very intriguing because I went to Cape Cod in Massachusetts back in April, and I absolutely loved it. Like, the scenery is just really incredible. It's like you got these nice villages, you got a lot of natural, beautiful natural landscapes. So it's like I can only imagine what Door County, Wisconsin will look like. So Door County stretches out, it's a part of the Upper Peninsula. It's sandwiched between Lake Michigan and Green Bay, referring to the bay, not the city. But the peninsula itself starts as you go northeast of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then you got Sturgeon Point, or Sturgeon Bay, excuse me, which is, I believe, it's the largest city in the Upper Peninsula, and that's like the gateway to Door County. And then of course you got all the parkland and the villages that are up there. So it'd be really cool to see, because yeah, I've not really been to Wisconsin before. I've been to Wisconsin once, but that was, or twice technically, but that was only just to drive through it. Never really got to make a true stop at Wisconsin. So I'm finally doing that with this trip. Okay, yeah, you can see a little bit of the Lake Michigan coastline, not a whole lot. And it was pretty cool, although you can't see it from the video. If you look off to the left, there's like a little, it's like a mix between a sandbar and an island. It's like from afar, almost look like a submarine, but there aren't going to be any submarines in Lake Michigan. One thing about traveling at this time of the day is that it's not all that busy. But anyway, with this trip, yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this, and then be going on another trip in a couple weeks from now. I'm taking a couple days off from work. I'm going to see a very good friend of mine out in Calgary, Alberta, which I'm really, really looking forward to. Although for that trip, I'll be flying out there because it'd be way too long of a drive from Michigan. Michigan here, but yeah, it's definitely not like what we saw earlier where we were practically right on the beach. It's like, even though we saw that one gas station like 10-15 minutes ago, it's like, yeah, you gotta be careful with your gas tank in the Upper Peninsula, because you can go quite a ways before you see another gas station. Okay, this passing lane is a little bit longer. Entering Garfield Township. Just got a bug splatter on top of my windshield. Thankfully, it's well above where the GoPro is recording. So here's the end of the passing lane here. This will probably be the only driving video I'll be filming today, just because I don't want to do too many on Highway 2. At least on this trip. And then from when I'm driving from Escanaba down to Green Bay, I'm going to be driving into the sun, so I'm not going to really be able to get a good video from that one. yeah, it's pretty nice too that even on these 2-lane highways that you got some different rest areas. So that way, if like you need to stop to use the restroom, you got different opportunities to do that. And I think at a lot of the scenic overlooks, you can do that too, because they'll usually have bathrooms that you can use if you have to use the bathroom. But they're usually seasonal, so it's like if you're driving up here in the wintertime, they're usually closed. So I think I got like another 10 minutes or so left in this video. Oh, here's a nice view of Lake Michigan. It's like, yeah, it's definitely very foggy still, and I know there's been a little bit of wildfire smoke too from Canada. Well, heck, this past week was insane in the state of Michigan because a low pressure center was centered over Michigan the early part of this past week. Because there's been so many wildfires in Canada this year. It's like it's a record-breaking year for wildfires in Canada, and the season is like the summer season has just started. Because like in Quebec and Ontario, there's a huge amount of wildfires, like record-breaking, and it's because of the low pressure center that was over Michigan early, like several days ago. It brought down a lot of wildfire smoke, and it was struggling to get out of the state. Like there was even a picture of the Mackinac Bridge where you could barely see the bridge, but you could see like the very tops of the bridge. And yes, definitely a lot better now because most of it's all cleared out. But yeah, just 2 days ago when I was like before I was recording this video, because I was driving to go get lunch from like, or my co-workers and I were going to a restaurant for lunch, and it's like the smoke was incredible. It's like the visibility was just barely over a mile. Because I know like a lot of times if you like watch the news, which is one of the things I tell you to try to turn off. But if you're watching, like looking at like the headlines, you may have seen like headlines in the past where you see like a lot of smog or like a heavy pollution, like either like in New Delhi or Beijing, like, or many different cities around the world. It looked just like that in the Detroit area this past week. Like it was not something I had ever seen before. Or anyway, I forgot to mention, I think that was Nobbin Way. Because yeah, it's like there were days where the air quality was so bad where it's like even people without respiratory conditions, they were telling people to heavily limit your time outside. And heck, that same day I was talking about where the visibility was like only a mile just because of all the smoke. You could smell it. It smelled like if I put my head into a campfire. I'm only guessing because I've never done that, and I'm telling you, don't ever do that personally. Yeah, don't ever stick your head in a campfire because that's extremely dangerous. So yeah, it's like don't ever do that. But it's like it was kind of like that in a way. But yeah, that was crazy though. So we should only have like another few miles left to go in this video. And yeah, we will not be seeing Lake Michigan in the rest of this video. different parts along the Lake Michigan coastline where you got different peninsulas which go away from Highway 2, which is pretty cool. To driving videos, I'm not sure what else I'm going to be filming on this trip. I'll have to think about that as I continue my mini road trip. I say mini road trip because this is short compared to what I did with Massachusetts in April, and of course for sure with Alabama around New Year's. Two vehicles at the same time, but something tells me there's a car approaching from the opposite side. Yup. But I think if it was absolutely clear, you probably would have gone around both of us, like both me and then of course the trailer RV that's in front of me. Yeah, for where I am right now, I have like another hour and a half to go before I get to Escanaba. So yeah, we'll be ending the video in a couple minutes. So because I'll be doing my outro at that point, I won't be able to really talk about it much, but we're ending the video at M-117, and M-117 is a short highway which connects Highway 2 with M-28 to the north. So if you're coming up for the Mackinac Bridge and you're going toward like Munising, which is where Pigeon Rock National Lakeshore is, or if you're heading west toward Marquette, or eventually make your way over to Houghton and Hancock, and eventually to the Keweenaw Peninsula where Copper Harbor is, M-117 is a good way to get over to M-28. And yep, and here's M-117 now. So I hope you enjoyed this video here on Highway 2 West, going from I-75 in St. Ignace, Michigan, all the way to M-117 near Engadine, Michigan. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click this subscribe button to come along and join me for the adventure, and don't forget to click that notification bell so that way you know when a new video goes live. Well, thanks for watching. This is Scott with the Scottman signing out.